Well, with all the UFO nuts waiting, feverishly waiting, poised over their laptops like coiled springs to read this report from the American government on the UAPs that's going to be released on the 25th of this month, that being June. It appears that there is some information about what we can expect to see. Now, I think myself and most of the other guys have been absolutely quite right when we've said that they shouldn't really be getting excited, because they're not going to tell us. They're not going to tell us the planet's being visited by aliens, okay? And again, this report reinforces the fact that there's never ever been an alien crash. We don't have any alien material. They have no evidence of alien technology in flying objects. So that means they don't have any biological samples. They don't have any technological samples. There's never been the crash of an alien spacecraft here on Earth. Excuse me, okay. Let's have a look at it. A new report concedes that much about the observed phenomena remains difficult to explain, including their acceleration as well as ability to change direction and submerge. Now, having had a quick look at this and having had a look at what Mick West has to say about it and what Thunderfoot has to say about it, I mean, it does look like these American experts really don't know what they're looking at. It's pretty easy to debunk most of this stuff. And I think Mick West used an example where there was that thing in Chile. You know, the Chilean Air Force had video of that thing in infrared, and all their government experts all around the world couldn't figure out what it was. And they put it on the internet, and it was accurately identified as a civilian flight within a couple of days. So, yeah, it's not really... this doesn't really mean much. Thunderfoot made some interesting observations in that I think it's the one where it actually looks like the plane's following another plane, and they're saying, oh look, it's rotating. I think that was the video, and he said you can actually see the bearing to the target come round as the aircraft is closing in on it, and it's directly behind it, and then the video stops. That's suspicious, I think, because that sort of suggests they caught it and found out what it was, and found it was just another aircraft. And also, why didn't they switch to, when they were that close, why didn't they switch to photo mode so we can actually see an image of it rather than just an infrared image? Because, you know, lots of things can look a little peculiar in infrared. So anyway, no surprise there. Okay, let's just scroll down a bit. This is in the New York Times, by the way. Is that bit? Yeah, okay. So let's move on to the next bit. Washington. American intelligence officials have found no evidence that aerial phenomena witnessed by Navy pilots in recent years are alien spacecraft. But they still cannot explain the unusual movements that have mystified scientists and the military. According to senior administration officials briefed on the findings of a highly anticipated government report. Now that's quite interesting terminology. American intelligence officials have found no evidence that aerial phenomena witnessed by Navy pilots in recent years are alien spacecraft. Okay, so what about the aerial phenomena that have been witnessed by everyone else? The Army, the Navy, the USAF. So this is specifically saying that they found no evidence that the aerial phenomena witnessed by Navy pilots. So that's a pretty narrow sample, isn't it? I'm specifically talking about those videos that were released recently, but you know, but they're excluding an awful lot of other organisations there, aren't they? They still can't explain the unusual movements. And again, these movements have been, I think, quite well debunked or described by some of the debunkers out there. And I mean, even the transmedium craft, Mick West did a video showing that there was something like 6 minutes missing out of it, so it didn't actually sort of rapidly descend. It sort of drifted down, and you can see it doesn't actually disappear. It sort of disappears, reappears very close to the surface, as though waves are obscuring it because it's over the ocean, and then it's like a setting sun or like a setting star or planet. So it's more likely to be something like that than a transmedium craft. The report determines that a vast majority of more than 120 incidents over the past 2 decades did not originate from any American military or other advanced US government technology. The officials said that determination would appear to eliminate the possibility that Navy pilots who reported seeing unexplained aircraft might have encouraged programs the government might have encountered programs the government meant to keep secret. That determination would appear to eliminate the possibility that Navy pilots who reported seeing unexplained aircraft might have encountered programs the government meant to keep secret. Not necessarily, because if these things seem to be paying attention to American Navy exercises in particular, that would be an ideal place to test any technology that that you want to develop that might succeed against someone else's Navy. Let's get rid of that. Anyone out there read Morse? That could well be that. If you had something, if you were developing some sort of secret aerial object that you were going to use against a foreign navy, the ideal place to test it would be against your own navy. So if you had a naval exercise going on, and especially with a navy that's just been upgraded. I think that I saw there was a senior chief or something was saying that he saw lots of these things on their radar. So the systems had just been upgraded. So if your thing can defeat that, your own highly advanced navy, then it's got a good chance of defeating the enemy. So that's not a particularly good argument. I think that will be an ideal test of some secret technology against your own navy that you know is on exercise. Because if they can't catch it, or they don't, then the enemy's not going to be able to catch it. The other thing I thought was quite interesting, I might do a video about it, was that senior chief actually showed a picture on their radar of these objects, and he said, oh yeah, we just had the systems upgraded and we were testing them. So when that happens, when you get systems upgrades, often you get glitches. And you have to iron the bugs out of the system upgrades. This is what they take it out there and test it for. So, it's I think it's far more likely to be system glitches than actual real vehicles in the air. Okay. So that determination would appear to eliminate the possibility that Navy pilots who reported seeing unexplained aircraft have encountered programs the government meant to keep secret. So no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You could have a secret program and try it out on your own navy to see how effective it is without telling anybody. I think it would make perfect sense. Okay, let's just move this up a little bit. But that is about the only conclusive finding in the classified intelligence report. That is about the only conclusive finding in the classified intelligence report. Okay, the officials said, and while a forthcoming unclassified version expected to be released to Congress by June 25 will present a few other firm conclusions, senior officials briefed on the intelligence conceded that the very ambiguity of the findings meant the government could not definitively rule out theories that the phenomena observed by military pilots might be alien spacecraft. Okay. But that is about the only conclusive finding in the classified intelligence report. So all these people that have, all these guys have seen the report and read the report. The classified part of the report is not classified from them, it's classified from the public. But basically what they've said is, we can't give you the details, but it's not aliens. So that sort of supports what I just said, really, doesn't it? That you've got certain branches of the military that are DARPA probably, that are testing things against their own people without telling them, just to find out how effective it is. Because if you're going to do that, you're not going to tell the people you're testing the equipment on that that's what you're doing. You want their response. You don't want them to think, oh, we're going to see a training, we're going to see one of our things, it's a training thing. You want to surprise them and you want to see how effective it is. So, so the classified intelligence report has been read by all of these guys, but that part of it is not going to be released to the public. That's what that means. And it also means they have no evidence of alien spacecraft. You know, as I keep saying, all that's out there is stories. There is absolutely zero tangible evidence to support aliens visiting this planet. Zero. I mean, the UFO crowd can keep telling their science fiction stories until they're blue in the face, but no one is going to believe they're alien spacecraft until we've actually got tangible proof that these things are from another planet. America's long-running fascination with UFOs has intensified in recent weeks in anticipation of the release of the government report. Former President Barack Obama further stoked the interest when he was asked last month about the incidents on the Late Late Show with James Corden on CBS. And I did a video and I showed that clip, I think, with Obama basically saying he doesn't know what they are. Maybe lawyers aren't very good at trigonometry. Okay, so what is true, and I'm actually being serious. Oh, this is a quote from Obama. I remember him actually saying this. Mr. Obama said, is that there is footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. And he's not a technical guy, so he's going to look at those videos and going to say, yeah, okay, fair enough. I don't know what they are either. Yeah, the report concedes that much about the observed phenomena remains difficult to explain, including their acceleration, as well as ability to change direction and submerge. So we don't know that that's what happens. We haven't seen any of that. All the footage we've seen, they're not doing anything spectacular at all. And that with the Master Chief showing the blips on the radar. They're all travelling extremely slowly, 128 knots or something like that. And it may very well be one Cessna. And because they've just had a system upgrade, the blips are getting recopied onto the screen. It could be anything, it's not travelling. I mean, if it was, say, travelling at 6,000 miles an hour, you think, well, that's a little bit unusual, but 128 knots? Nah, not unusual. As well as and submerge. And again, if the only evidence for them submerging is that video with the thing recently, that could be anything. That could be Venus setting on the horizon. Well, that was infrared, wasn't it? More like the sun setting, maybe. That's probably what it was. I wonder if we can find out where that was actually taken and what angle they were looking at and what time of day it was. Could actually work that out. One possible explanation that the phenomena could be weather balloons or other research balloons does not hold up in all cases, the officials said, because of changes in wind speed at the times of some of the interactions. Well, we know that the numbers tell us that the F-18 guys were looking at a balloon. And that, if they seriously can't tell they're looking at a balloon, then how seriously can you take any of this, really? I think what they should probably do is find out Google has these balloons all over the place. If they've got any over the ocean, or even over land, or over land actually wouldn't be as good because they'd have a reference in the background. But if they could find a Google balloon over the ocean, what they should maybe do is find out where the Google balloons are, or even launch a balloon and practice flying around it and see if they think it's moving fast. Because if you're approaching something standing still when you're travelling very fast with no reference in the background, it actually looks like the thing's moving, doesn't it? You go past it and you go, wow, that was moving, when it's actually you that's moving, especially in a fast jet. So they really can't tell the difference, between a balloon and something doing really something quite unusual, which is a little distressing, and it probably gives the Russians and Chinese a bit of a giggle. The final report will also include a classified annex, the officials said. While the annex will not contain any evidence concluding that the phenomena are alien spacecraft, the officials acknowledged that the fact it would remain off limits to the public was likely to continue to fuel speculation that the government had secret data about alien visitations to Earth. And no, what that is you've got to bear in mind is that it's classified from the public, it's not classified from them. And they've said there's nothing in there to indicate these are alien spacecraft. Why it would remain classified is that it's probably recordings from military systems that they don't want to show publicly. They don't want to show how far it can look, what temperatures it can see and that sort of stuff. And how fast it can track, spin round on the gimbals and all this sort of stuff. They probably don't want to show any of that sort of stuff. So that would be why it would be kept classified. So there'd be nothing in that of interest. And as I said, this is classified from the public. It's not classified from them. They've read all of it. So many of the more than 120 incidents examined in the report are from Navy personnel, officials said. That's interesting too. The report also examined incidents involving foreign militaries over the last 2 decades. Intelligence officials believe at least some of the aerial phenomena could have been experimental technology from a rival power, most likely Russia or China. That's probably as likely, well, certainly more likely than aliens, I would suspect. If you've got a big American military exercise going on, there's going to be Russian submarines around watching it and recording what's going on, just like the Americans shadow, Russian naval exercises. It's interesting that it's mostly the Navy. Because that tends to lean in that direction, so you get some, Russian submarines watching watching what's going on with these exercises, and they could launch little drones to record radar, frequencies, pulse repetition rates, and that sort of thing. How low the radar can scan to the surface, and that might as well tally with what David Fravor said about this large object under the surface and all the sea roiling above it. Because the Russians have some fairly large submarines. If they were going to launch something from a submarine, when they open those hatches, there's going to be bubbles coming up to let the things out. So far more likely to be something like that than anything alien. The fact that many of the more than 120 incidents examined in the report are from Navy personnel. So the Navy's going to be testing stuff out in the ocean, obviously, because that's where the Navy operates. They're not going to be operating in the high street where there's lots of tall buildings. And you can get funny effects, with the ocean, and because it's continually moving. The waves are moving. You get a lot of ground clutter on radar. You can get strange reflections off the ionosphere over the ocean with radio signals. That's what radar is. So that could have something to do with it as well. And also, you could have gas bubbles, bubbles of methane or whatever, released from cracks in the ocean floor, come out through the surface and just go straight up in the air and all that sort of stuff. And if you catch a glimpse of something like that, it might look a bit spectacular. Who knows? I think it's far more likely to be something like that, especially as it's mostly the Navy. I mean, what are UFOs going to glean by flying up and down the coast, especially every day for 2 years? I mean, that's just ludicrous. I don't believe that at all. That's either the guy is making that up for fun, he's delusional because he really believes it, or there are some sort of system glitches that lead him to believe that's the case. I can't believe they're there every day for 2 years and you can't get a sample of one. I just don't believe it. If they're real tangible objects, I think, and they're there every day, and they're going to be there every day, and they're there every day for 2 years, and you can't get a sample of one. Personally, I don't believe that. Don't believe it. One senior official briefed. Hang on, let's just move this up a little bit. Let's just move this up a little bit. One senior official briefed on the intelligence said without hesitation that US officials knew it was not American technology. And again, they can't tell the difference between a balloon and something, moving low and fast. So who are these officials? Are they technical people? Are they just suits? It was not American technology, he said. There was worry among intelligence and military officials that China or Russia could be experimenting with hypersonic technology. Well, they are. They've said they are. Difficult to get hypersonic technology to stop, though. I mean, we haven't seen that. We're told that's what happens. Yeah, don't underestimate the Russians or the Chinese. I mean, they've got some extremely good stuff. I don't know if you've seen footage of the new T-50 aircraft. It can actually pirouette in the air horizontally. You wouldn't think that was possible. It just doesn't look like it's obeying the laws of physics. Okay, is that it? Yeah, that's it. So much ado about nothing, I'd say. This is exactly what I was expecting. Exactly what I was expecting. Absolutely no evidence whatsoever of alien technology and flying objects. They appear to be there and we don't know what they are. We have no evidence that they're alien technology. So until there is evidence that they're alien technology, they're not alien technology, are they? So, yeah, a bit of a storm in a teacup. All the UFO nuts, of course, are going to be crying into the cornflakes. But what did they really expect? Yeah, I think poor Mr. Jones was expecting them to say, "Oh yeah, well we've had the saucer from Roswell. We've been examining that since 1947." Yeah, okay. I think he should probably consider changing his medication if that's the case. All right. Well, as always, hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll catch you again.